5,000 podcast subscribers' lives ended on October 14th, 2019. The survivors of the episode called the show Netherkast. They lived only to face a new nightmare, the war against NetherRealm Studios. The producer which controlled the studio, Ed Boon, sent 2 reboots back in time. Their mission? To destroy the leader of the podcast, Razor's Edge, your host. The first retcon was programmed to strike at me in the year 2011, before the podcast was born. It failed. The second was set to strike at the podcast itself, when it was still hosted by Cyborg. As before, the Resistance was able to send 3 co-hosts, companions for Razor. It was just a question of which one of them would be introduced first. Ba-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na, da-da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-dum, da-dum-dum-dum. Ba-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na, da-da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-dum, da-dum-dum-dum. Shad's an infiltration unit, part man, part machine. Underneath, a hyperalloy combat chassis. Microprocessor controlled, fully armored, very tough. But outside, living human tissue. Flesh, skin, hair, blood. Grown for the podcast. The Django 600 series had rubber skin. We spotted them easy. But these are new. They look human. Sweat, bad breath, everything. Very hard to spot. I had to wait till he logged into Discord before I could record. Now listen and understand. That smoke man is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead. So come with me if you want a podcast.
I'm coming.
All right. That was good. This was good.
Terminator's out. What do we think?
I'm gonna let you guys handle this one. You don't want to know what I
He's okay. He's very stiff, but he gets results.
He is stiff.
But he's
Terminator franchise, there are some very big positives and some very middling negatives. At least for me. I mean, all of his intros are just the best writing in the game, which is so stupid.
That's pretty harsh, but okay, tell us more.
They're actually clever, right? And they're all like, shit, they like, somebody actually watched all of our and like, got it all right.
There's good stuff in there.
Is there a junior reference?
I don't know that there's a junior reference.
What a shame.
I don't think there's a reference to twins either.
I think there actually might be a reference to either twins or Big. I seem to recall that.
Who is the tumor one?
It's not a tumor.
I think that's either Cassie or Jackie.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a problem with the it's not, because he says it is not a tumor.
It is not a tumor.
God, fuck the whole thing, man.
A little bit.
Yeah, listen. Arnold would have gotten it right had he.
Yeah, he would have. That's the. I actually like, as far as the impersonator goes, I'm kind of impressed that he's like not over the top with it. Like, it's not the usual Arnold impression of get.
He's really not. He's not over the top with anything.
Do it now. Yeah.
He's very even and
Yeah.
measured.
The only thing is, like,
a lot of like
he's-
shitting on the replacement voice actor, and I gotta say, most of the time he doesn't do that bad.
Yeah, like, I kind of like
I-
him. My only problem with the voice actor is he's a little flat. Like, our emotes more than this when he's playing the Terminator.
That's about it.
That's the only thing.
Yeah,
Though.
I think most people are pretty mean. Like, they're saying that this is like Dimitri Vegas tier.
Yeah, that's not fair at all.
It's-
Like, this
it's-
guy are as bad as Rhonda.
No, I was
it's not as bad as Rhonda.
at work last week. I was with my teammates at my meeting because one of us is heading off to another department, and the topic of conversation turned to the new Terminator movie, and because every guy, it being my birthday like 2 weeks ago, they gave me a birthday card, a bunch of MK and Street Fighter figures all over it, and it's like it was really sweet. But yeah, long story short, I wound up showing the YouTube videos of like all of MK11's really bad voice acting.
Oh,
And they're like, Terminator's not terrible. It's a little bit stiff, but they unanimously agree that like Rhonda was awesome. Dimitri sounded like a guy that it was not his first language, which they didn't even fucking know, but they got it right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you can tell when somebody's not English speaker.
A little
It's-
bit, yeah.
what's Rhonda's excuse?
Rhonda's excuse is
speaks
she's not
English.
a fucking actor and it's a fucking mistake.
It's the worst
Went
thing
in.
ever.
Went in, just read from the script, and then someone went, "Why don't you try emoting a little bit?"
What's emoting? I don't know that word.
Is that like where you post the figure of like the little image of the guy who's thinking? Is that what emoting is?
Is that when you lose one match and then retire forever?
Oh, I don't know the Rhonda lore. Is that
Wow,
a thing?
seriously?
That's why she's not in UFC anymore. Lost the title, never went back.
She's got a bright future as a deception NPC.
She sure does. Man,
Oh,
we could have had something like Kira. That would have been better than this.
Kira. Would it though?
I mean,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because Kira probably wouldn't have been in the story mode that much. Or so did
I really look to the department in my game studio's office and like just play this for them and ask them what they think as professional voice acting recorders, and just I want to write their sentences down word for word on a notepad.
Can you
I
do this
really
to every
think-
video game office? Come do it to mine. Go do it to everyone else's, and just come back and report back.
I
No,
don't
like the
think
same.
NRS had a
honestly-
choice. UB
Yeah.
made a deal. There was money exchanging hands, and
Oh, if it was WB, yeah, money, yeah.
I don't think there was a choice in regards to like the Terminator, because Arnold probably was legitimately not available. But as for Rhonda and Dimitri, they were probably favors for friends. I don't think there was much sketch going on
no,
there.
Rhonda's definitely a money thing.
Nah, maybe. Who
I'm
knows?
sure Dimitri was like
It had to be.
a favor, but
I mean, they probably thought like like The Rock would have been like a really cool guest get, right? Put him as the voice of anybody. They're like, well, we can't get him based, and he's busy with like actual jobs. So Rhonda, okay.
I mean,
Who would you cast The Rock as in MK?
No one.
Darius?
That's a good question, honestly.
Oh God, there's lots of them I could do. Like I wouldn't even hate him.
Darius.
Unironically,
Darius? Did you say Darius?
I said Darius.
All right. Announcer.
The Rock
I mean,
doesn't
yeah.
look like anybody in the game. Like,
No, but like you might be onto something. He might single-handedly be able to make Darius cool.
yeah, they wanted so
No.
badly for Darius to be cool. Like, to be... He's supposed to be this plus Blade plus Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon.
Man, if that's
Like,
what he
he's
was
this
supposed
mashup.
to be.
And I guess there's some Samuel L. Jackson in there, you could argue. Like, he's this mashup of all these cool pop cultures. And then in the game,
Randy-
he doesn't have any personality, and it's just wasted. Like,
The Rock saves
none of it
Darius.
comes across in his
Mortal Kombat
dialogue.
12.
Randy Cool suggests he should voice Motaro. You know what? I love it, but that would require them to be put in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, listen, that's kind of the point. There's a billion characters The Rock could play, and it would be rad.
I don't know. I think The Rock,
including.
I mean, the thing is, The Rock doesn't actually have acting range. He pretty much plays himself. It's just that people love to see him. The thing is, that personality doesn't really fit anybody except Johnny Cage. I'm not a fan of race bending.
Well, The Rock is Shao Kahn, says Snake Eyes. The Rock is
The Rock cannot play Shao Kahn.
More like
look, when that Black Adam movie comes out, we're all going to learn this was a mistake. Just because you look like a guy doesn't mean you can play them.
See, he does not have faith in that particular bit of casting.
I think The Rock is going to surprise us all.
I don't think that Black Adam movie's ever actually coming.
I don't think it is either.
It's been 10 years. He was cast literally 10 years ago.
Even in the Shazam movie, like, that was
they decided to do Dr. Savannah instead.
It strikes. That's when it strikes in the movie where it's supposed to.
So how about that Terminator, huh, folks?
Yeah, let's get back to the subject at hand.
Okay, versus The Rock would have been a great Mortal Kombat 11 experience.
So one of the problems I have with the Terminator is that he doesn't really have skins from the other movies. Like, they're all just the old man version from Dark Fate.
That
with the beard gone.
In as much as I actually care to talk about this thing, I think they'd at least give us that. And
there's like I would love to see like a T1 who's got the shaggier hair and the punk jacket that he stole from Brian Thompson. Yeah, by the way, if anybody didn't know that, the punk he kills for his clothes in T1 is the guy who played Shao Kahn in Annihilation.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. It's Brian Thompson and what's his face? Why is
Eric Foreman's dad?
Bill Paxton?
Yeah, Bill Paxton is one of the other punks, and then the third guy never did anything with his career. Nobody knows him.
You might also remember Bill Paxton from RoboCop.
You might remember Bill Paxton from the 80s.
Yeah.
And from dying recently, rest his soul.
Yeah, I would love that outfit, and I'd love an accurate T2 outfit, and they got lazy with the alt costumes.
I don't think it's NRS's fault. It's not NRS's fault. It has to be like a WB thing. No, you can own Dark Fate.
I don't know, maybe there is a licensing thing involved, but that doesn't seem right, because when Arnold was in that WWE game, he had a T1 skin and a T2 skin.
I hate constantly being the most cynical one, but I think it's going to come in a pack. I think it's just going to come in a pack further on.
You honestly think there will ever be skins for the guest characters?
Never know.
I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see it now, actually, especially for a guest character as noteworthy as the Terminator. I wouldn't be that surprised. And how rushed the theme of this game is. Like, I could see that being a case. Like, oh, you know what? Here's another shirt we're going to give Terminator with the Johnny Cage reference on it later on.
Raiden still doesn't have a proper retro hat. I'm sure somewhere down the line there's going to be a bundle of quote-unquote classic stuff. We'll see it.
So. With the Mortal Kombat 3 ninja skin.
Yeah, that too.
It's on the way.
I don't know, maybe.
Someday.
Like, I'm sure we'll get
one of these days.
I would be surprised if there was any DLC that added more to the DLC, because they've never done that before.
Yeah, it was the first time for...
I think they don't do that because they consider that kind of scummy.
Well, not if the DLC is free, though.
Well, yeah, like, the costume packs are usually... You pay extra for those. I mean...
So it might be a kind of combat pack only DLC.
Well, no, I guess... I mean, it depends on the characters. Like...
Or it could be Mortal Kombat 11 XL, like it's just bundled with that. That's still coming.
Possible.
I mean, it's like they're not charging us when they release more fucking taunts and brutalities.
That is something that I am forever very grateful about for this game. Like, I mean, say what you want about the roster choices, the writing, the combat system, plus or negatives, the animations. They have been going out of their way to not fuck their audience financially, and I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, that stuff's not easy to do or that's free for them or whatever. There's a lot of different departments that are doing stuff for those things and whatnot. And there's some cool shit in there. There's some shit that's a little whack. Like, I don't like Sub-Zero's 2-axe thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But some of that shit's pretty tight, and somebody had to produce that shit.
That's true. I do appreciate that they don't nickel and dime us on those little animations.
I like how Shang's his new brutal whip pose is the friendship.
Yeah, that was nice.
I heard he does that. I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty cool.
I could give you a link.
All right, I would like to check that out. As for the Terminator gameplay, what do you guys think? I've gone through the character towers with him a little bit, but I don't feel like I've learned. And he doesn't feel very good to me.
The graphic variation's kind of cool.
I actually wasn't up at all, download him, until I saw that, yes, he's already on the ladder. There's nothing you can do can ever prevent that. So I said, okay, fine, whatever. And I picked him up, and he's just, stiff is the word. He plays very much like Jason.
Yeah.
There are some copy-pasted animations. There are some copy-pasted animations in there, which we'll get to in a
7.
Yeah.
I mean, it is for him to move like that.
He's not for me, but I can feel how Terminator should feel.
I feel like if it weren't for variations, they wouldn't have to copycat so much.
I wish is that he had more different kinds of guns, because he uses the shotgun a lot, which I kind of appreciate, gives them more chances to cock it like in T2. But
spin cock.
What would you say?
I don't know. I've never heard that phrase, but I like it.
Oh, because it's got that lever action and spins it around when he cocks it.
Absolutely it does.
Today's special word is spin cock.
Spin cock it. I mean, that seems like it should be the name of the episode to me.
Unrelated to meat spin.
Don't going down this Google things, and it's going to be our fault.
You did it. This came from you.
Cock spin.
Do you remember how both of us regret ever saying the name Shadman? This is that same road. Let's not go down that road.
Don't do that.
It's already too late, but let's stop here before we make it worse.
I've seen a lot of people on Twitter bully the Terminator over his animation, specifically his down 3.
Oh, the down 3 is...
I don't get why... Bro, just slide your foot, bro.
This is the stanky leg. The leg is stanky. Too much shaky.
Listen, man, Mortal Kombat 11 has come such a far way with their animation. I'm thinking about it. I'm getting flustered. That animation has come a long way. But I think at this point, they're like, listen, we're NRS. We're going to keep embracing our here and there and just throwing in some shit. And they got to throw in some shit, and they do it on purpose. They do. There's some sick animation in this game, actually.
I mean, the irony is that they patched out that thing where they stand back up and fall down again when they're knocked out.
It looks really, really good like this. It makes the end of a match seem so much more satisfying.
It's really nice.
It's a great change.
And then I remember, Injustice 1 on the other side, the exact opposite of the spectrum, where they'd fall down and get back up like...
Yeah.
I feel like maybe WB told them super emphasize that nobody died.
Right. They did, man. That what was that? Whose outro was that? It was Ares, where he just chucks all the swords at you.
Yeah.
You have to remember they're still alive. It's like, dude, listen, no one's alive after that. Are you serious? No. Make them grunt. That means they're alive. They survived.
Heroic brutality, man.
If they would have said that, it would have made it fine.
But I just don't understand why they do these stupid fucking for down 3s. It's not fucking hard. Just slide the foot over.
Tradition, sir.
I'm just going to say, I was actually happy to see it. It reminded me of old times.
Here's the thing. So
heritage, not hate, sir.
When you look at that animation, you're actually stay balanced doing that, but you have to remember Carlos Pacina did.
I don't believe that.
This is not them hand animating. That's Carlos.
If someone jumps over your head, a ducking high kick is sometimes a viable option. I've won a couple of rounds like that.
It's a very viable option. It would never happen in a million years IRL, but that's better because this isn't IRL. This is Netherrealm. I mean, but that's the fun thing about Terminator. He is super stiff, right? He's hella stiff to play. He feels like a board a lot of the time, but he's strong. He's got some good shit.
I feel like so. What bothers me is that the range on you is bullshit small. It's a fucking shotgun.
It is.
It's the
right in front of your
it's
face.
Such a tiny excuse for an uppercut.
It's got the coolest crushing blow, and for the down 2 brutal, they actually bothered to fucking change it and make the head explode.
Yeah, I love that the head
good.
explodes instead of like on everybody else.
I like it when he shoots you from across the screen with that shotgun thing, and it hits, and it doesn't hit sometimes when he tries to uppercut you with it.
Yeah, right? That's my fucking problem. The range...
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's
like, the character can be too close to a whiff.
I'll say that walking forward with like repeated amplified shotgun, hella fun.
It is fun.
Look, they gotta fix
the gum out.
Everything else is fine.
The gum. Whatever that is. What is that? Whatever. The brutally keeps the gun out. It's like it blows your face off. Your head doesn't explode. D4 was doing this to me the other night. It was annoying. Healing gun blows your face off. Your head's fine. It's still intact. It's fine. Just your skin comes off of your face. That one's really satisfying too.
That's how bullets work.
That's a look, I use that because it's not the fucking Sonya brutality or fatality from X. The one where the head flies, the drone just shoots it.
Oh, the one where she collects the skull like she's become the fucking Predator? The evidence that she has serious PTSD?
Which is, go ahead. You go ahead, sir.
It's just, use it because the Terminator looks cool doing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, that's fair.
Unlike Sonya, who isn't even doing anything.
Brutal.
You know what? They modeled a motorcycle for Fatal. I wish I used it more.
That was a pretty cool Fatal.
I like that.
It's got a lot of those cool faces that people make in it.
I love the fucking reaction, like Sub-Zero shocked that the guy's on a motorcycle coming at him.
Time to go and get this. How is it so fast? All right, so is this where we talk about the ending or the win animation? Because the win animation we talk about.
I do. So I want to talk about the endoskeleton in general because I fucking love it.
Okay.
This is the thing with that. Like, this is the kind of thing I want to see from the.
Yeah,
like,
right. That's exactly my thought. That why can they do this? They just proved it's possible. Why isn't this happening for Sector and Cyrax?
Fucking, I did Noob's Fatal on him, and instead of intestines pouring out, it was just cords.
Yeah, they really, they went all out with it. He has his own brain model for the ones that rip the brain out.
Yeah, and on the Baraka one where he rips the fucking face off to reveal the musculature, it just shows the skull.
And since we've specified in game that this timeline's version is literally just a brain and a robot, apparently, what's going on?
Oh, that reminds me. Someone pointed out on Twitter, Frost where the spine comes down differs from the fatalities because the spine is all metal and shit. And then in the fatality, it's all real bone and shit.
Her anatomy has always been borked.
Cyberfrost doesn't make any sense at all whenever you do stuff to her. I hate.
There is
sentence. I hate, period.
So we can fall into a hole of Cyberfrost all day and be stuck down there. Never getting out.
But just from now on, till the end of time, every time a game comes out, where the Cybers don't have their own gore, to Terminator and go, you're fucking lazy. You did it once before.
There's a hesitance to, top up a lot of slightly off stuff. Retro Scorpion's eyes, Cabal's fucking wrong hook swords.
Cabal's everything, honestly.
Oh, honestly.
Cabal's everything is largely due to the whole gear system.
it was bad decision making. There's lots of bad decisions.
I feel like that's generous. I think what's wrong with Cabal's everything is that the developers and the character of Cabal are both wrong about everything.
There is no Cabal.
It's inherent now.
Cabal is a duck-billed platypus, and it doesn't matter what he acts like, because it's never going to be the same. Never. There's never been consistency, there's never gonna be.
I just want one good costume. Is that so much to ask?
Got one, maybe he'll get one too down the line.
Maybe.
I was hoping these forthcoming Halloween costumes were gonna be it once I saw the leaked data where he had like 4 or 5 placeholder spots, but we'll see.
I hate the costumes. Especially these ones that came with Terminator. Fucking Mecha Kano. Fuck off with that shit.
I think Mecha Kano's hilarious. I mean, he's dumb as fuck and he makes no sense, but he looks hilarious.
I hate it so much.
What if Kano joined the Justice League?
Yeah, like, what's the concept here? Is it supposed to be a reference to Cyborg? Because Kano is a fucking white guy? That seems weird.
God, I don't know what's going on there.
I've been saying since MKX that they instead of these, they should be doing concept art stuff and making those DLC costumes. Kung Lao is desperate for it.
I mean, I told a story on the Discord the other day of how Kano's outfit reminds me of this fan fiction I read in, like, 1998.
I'll say I actually don't particularly mind the Sarah Connor getup. It's on the nose, sure, but parts of it are generic enough that I don't particularly mind.
It's
something
not
else for her to
special.
wear.
Like, it's like Commando Johnny in X, where it's like, why is this a skin?
I don't agree. I think, like, Commando Johnny was kind of filler, but I actually think, like, look, I equipped that Sarah Connor costume on Sonya. I think it
Me
fits.
too. It's something that she could feasibly actually wear.
Like,
so
it actually looks like something Sonya would wear on one hand, and on the other hand, like, Sonya is, like, if you were going to dress someone up like Sarah Connor, there's no better match one-to-one for MK character and character from a movie.
Is there a green color?
Sarah Connor didn't wear green. She wore
Sonya
black
wears
and gray.
green. Sonya wears green.
There's a camo color.
Does Sonya wear green anymore?
Sometimes.
She should.
I mean, look, you got the MK3 outfit for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain that Sonya's starved for options or has bad costumes or anything. You can use the gear system and one of her skins to, like, make her look like MK4 red outfit Sonya with a cap on.
You can.
And that's what I did. A lot of good stuff going on.
I'm actually really happy with Sonya's shaders in the game. You can do several of her costumes from previous games. Well, that's what they're called when they're different.
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah.
Just need help. Cabal's pain run deep.
I mean, there are a couple characters where I used all 5 slots to make different skins. Sonya's one of them. And then there are characters where, like, I wish I could only have 1 slot because none of these are good, and Cabal's one of them.
Just give him an MK3 vest and we're okay.
That poor guy.
I don't know who decided shirtless and scarred was a good option, but they need help.
Yeah.
So that aside,
Terminator.
I mean, while we're on the subject of skins, Johnny in a tux is always good.
But yeah.
I don't mind that he has to roll his sleeves up to accommodate the gear system. It's fine. You can do that if you're actually in a real fight. It's cool.
Yeah, I feel like it looks Johnny-ish.
No MK1 comic color is a bit of a blow-up, but it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, there's a Joker color scheme, but there's not the MK1 outfit. The fucking teal and pink.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I hope the Joker one means that they won't do the Joker one. For the Joker.
What?
I hope the Joker suit on Johnny means the Joker won't have that shitty suit that we saw in the trailer. But
I think it's a little late for that, sir. I mean, that could have been like a Deborah situation where it's unfinished.
Listen, man.
Oh, Snake Eyes reminded me. Fuck the Harley Quinn skin. Fuck that skin.
I'm going to say
it much.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Cassie.
We live in a society.
Oh my god.
Bottom text.
Yep. Savage room.
I just saw Joker again tonight. Can I talk about Joker instead of Cassie Quinn?
No, because I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it yet.
Okay.
No spoilers.
Okay.
I think the trailer's already spoiled that movie. Like, I don't know what surprises left. Also, if you've ever seen Taxi Driver and King of Comedy...
Okay, like, can we not talk about Joker till we have to?
Okay. Don't talk about Joker. Don't save him.
Cover.
It's just...
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you've ever seen a Scorsese movie, just put face paint on it, you know what happens in the Joker.
Okay, sounds good. I like Taxi Driver. I'll have a good time.
I like both those movies, so... I like all three of them, actually, so... favorite Terminator brutality?
Have actually not seen any yet. Keep going.
I haven't... I've seen a couple.
What
I
else
haven't
have you not seen?
My favorite is the one...
Towers of Time.
My favorite's the one from the Backbreaker where he like kind of holds him up like the guy in Commando with the "I lied" line, you know, and he tosses
nice.
I like you, Sully. You're a funny guy. That's why I'm going to kill you last.
It's the shitstorm about his animation and the code that appears at the top right of the screen.
Oh yeah, the outro that shows fake DLC files for
Combat Pack 2, which apparently contains, according to said DLC files,
I haven't seen this.
Melina. Oh yeah. This is a thing. Like the animation where he's like scanning their body.
It's one of his outros.
Yeah, it'll actually say a bunch of code text /KP2 / and they get a line that says Melina, Rain, Meat, Serena, Mocap.
I gotta find this thing.
So yeah, it's. I mean, I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny. A lot of people out there didn't take it.
I mean, I didn't expect any of those characters, and I know there's like these 3 to 5 people on Twitter who will not shut up about Melina, and maybe they deserve to be, the butt of a joke.
They do, but I think Raid is overkill.
I don't know. It does kind of feel like a dick move. It's a little bit like laughing at us rather than laughing with us.
Yeah. I do, though, take this as more of a confirmation that is indeed happening. It hasn't been
God damn it, I'm clicking on a Dynasty video.
That's a good way to look. Don't do it!
I did it already. I gotta know.
Your mouth is already open. And now your entire neighborhood, your loved ones, pets, relatives, friends, your neighbors, they're all going to be sucked into that endless black vortex.
I had to do it. Oh, I like that Mortal Kombat that he has, by the way.
You were saying, Shad?
No. I mean, I laughed. I thought it was pretty fun. Right. It does kind of prove KP2 might be a thing. I mean...
if there is a second pack, like, I expect it to not be 6 characters. I really think it's just going to be Fujin, and then whoever they get to replace Ash if Bruce Campbell never says yes.
Like, I was about to say, did we forget about those leaks? Did we forget about the rest of that?
Yeah, I mean, those files are done. Fujin and Shiva not coming would now be a waste of resources. They've already put work in.
I mean, one way or another, guys, I don't give a crap about what's leaked and what's not. I hope to see those guys back. I'll take both of them.
Honestly, Shiva and Fujin are my most hyped DLC, honestly. Shiva, especially.
I do feel like Serena's an odd one to call out.
It does feel mean to put her in the same category as fucking...
But I'll say this. I mean, if I was going to mess with people, for one real name for the hardcore fans that I'm actually working on, amidst a bunch of A, Z tier characters we're never going to see again, and B, highly requested guys, Serena's a pretty good choice.
Oh yeah, they also listed Lee May
I don't think they'll ever do. I think they're like, if I were to think of all the names that will never happen no matter how hard we request them, it's like Rain, Havoc, and Serena.
Oh yeah, I now remember that one time on like an MKX podcast where they just deconfirmed Havoc. Just straight up like he was mocap or some shit.
I don't know. I don't like the people who work at NRS. Is that
no.
I feel like that's a problem. Like, that shouldn't be a thing. I know too much about their personalities, and I find them all unlikable people.
It's never everyone, but there are some people out there who could stand to shut the hell up.
Are we gonna bring that Danish guy up?
I don't fucking more attention. I don't want people to go looking for his Twitter and give him hits, because that's validating him, He's doing.
I didn't realize this whatever this is that Terminator does. I didn't realize it's like literally the data mine, quasi code snippets that they pull.
Yeah, they made it look like the fucking internal files of the game.
That's kind of funny.
It's a good touch. There's apparently a couple of Easter eggs there in terms of the names that actually show up on the scare. So
they show some Kami Dogu, I know.
Okay.
I mean, it is kind of clever.
It's cool.
It's pretty funny. I like
it.
I mean, for the Rain and Serena fans, the Melina fans have it coming to them. Any of us just appreciate nods to Meat or Mocha.
That's the thing. The people on Twitter who are when's Melina? Where the fuck is Melina? We're expecting Melina? Those are teenagers. They don't know. But me, I understand Serena's not fucking coming, so I can take a joke.
I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt at all, and I'm not bitter. I think it's fine. I laughed.
I think it's a shame we're never going to get Serena. It's a lot of potential going to waste, but I understand that the developers like the characters they like, and that's the people making the game that we're stuck with, and it's not up to us.
What if she showed up, Razor? Yeah. What if she's this game's wild card candidate we never thought we'd realistically see? Because there is a history of MK9 and MK10 characters out of their ass. It was Tremor and it was Scarlet. They just brought back people we never thought we'd ever see, ever. And I feel like
if they were to do another Tremor, it would be
Hydro. You're thinking Hydro?
It would be Hydro. Somebody who's never been in a game, as opposed to somebody who's been in a game once.
Scarlet's pretty tight, though.
No, that's Fujin, this game.
Nah, Fujin's a rare but established character. He's been selectable in 2 games. But Serena, I think, has been so far out of the loop that she might maybe count as that requested fan favorite concept that they never quite got right. I don't know.
I don't count her because she is an NPC in X.
I think what it's going to be is because the DLC is so spread out for this game, and because the game was released unfinished, I don't think they're going to have it left in them to do more characters. That's all it is. I think we're getting the ones that leaked, and it
wouldn't make for a very big combat.
I think they'll be out of juice, and they'll be moving on to the next game.
Juice.
I don't know.
They've kind of...
after
release schedule for the
game,
DLC has killed the hype. We talked over and over and over again about how by the end of Injustice 2's DLC cycle, nobody cared anymore. It was actually too many characters for that game. And part of that was because Injustice is not a great game. I think...
Sad, but true.
We're going to get to the point, if they do Fujin, Shiva, and one more person, 9 characters, which is the same that Injustice 2 got, except it's taking longer to get them, and that's what's killing this one.
That's definitely...
I feel like 11 will be dead by the time we get that 9th character, and there won't be any money in making more.
We'll see about that schedule. What do you assume? A half a year break before KP2 shows up? A couple months or what?
Oh man, I don't want another KP2. How the distance between KP1 and KP2 and X, that was already kind of awful late.
Well, the other thing they could do, NRS has never done this before, is the Street Fighter V schedule, where it's just the game's been dead for years and we're still putting out characters once in a while.
WB's not going to let them do it.
I'd like to see it. I really would. And they have said that they're committed to supporting the game long term.
Well,
and I don't know about you guys, but I am still playing this game. Not every single day, but whenever I can, I'll get one or two notches up closer to level 5.
I'll go into the Towers of Time once in a while, but I'm not excited.
I'm having fun. I'll say this right now. I played played an MK game this much since Deception.
I feel
That's a
like
long time.
I feel like I had a much longer cycle of having fun with the game. With I think the level 9 between the challenge tower and all the online we played once we started the podcast.
Yeah, 9 was
for you guys, but not for me. I was still like dealing with therapy. The story mode.
I mean,
that's
look,
what I remember from 9. 9 was therapy for me.
When I talk about playing 9, it's confused. Playing 9 is a completely different experience from 9 story mode. They're two different video games to me.
I understand, but I have so much trouble getting there. It brings up 9 to me. I'm like, do you want to know where on the doll it touched me? What?
I mean, it's a little bit like repressed memory. When I think of the good times with 9, I have to pretend the bad times never happened.
And in a lot of ways, like Mortal Kombat 11's gameplay does like tag stuff that 9 had. It's
similarities. I think for me, the problem with 11 is roster, I guess.
I think it's hard to put my finger on it whenever I think about it. There is something that's, I think I've heard it called not compelling, Mortal Kombat 11, as far as the gameplay stuff goes. There is something
like
there,
11 improved a lot on X in like visuals, and I still feel like it's not like I really want, like, playing MK9 is like a bag of Skittles. You know, you're tasting the fucking rainbow, and that's what I want.
You want Skittles?
I want the UI with the greens and the reds, man.
But I mean, but it's not the UI that's making MK11 not compelling.
No, it's a combination of things.
But I mean, that's what's tough about it. Like,
there's
I don't
like
know.
a lot of it is gameplay, like the way they're doing like variations in like it feels limited compared to even to X, where like
It do.
Also the fact that some characters just don't have classic moves, like the Sonya's leg grab and Sub-Zero's ice clone actually affects the game for me. Like that is a huge negative, and I don't think...
Okay, this is what... I equip my guys with, like, one single retro setup. For old people like us, who don't like changes, it's uncomfortable.
Well, I don't think the guys at NRS notice or care about the difference. Like, I think they have a characters are just functions attitude towards the ice clone, because they talk about that fucking floating orb move as though it is the ice clone.
The disco ice clone? Yeah, it's not the clone. It's really, really, really shitty. Listen, I'm all about, like, you know, the change is good. Keeps things fresh and whatnot, and I'm a big fan of ice creep. I want to keep calling it ice creep, because I don't like saying creeping ice. I like that move. I like that move a lot. It's fun as fuck, and I get to do that little Akuma stomp. It's you know, it's tight. But the fucking disco ball ice, get out of here, man. Just give me the fucking clone. Why are you going to such lengths to not own to make me want to do this thing? I don't want to fucking do it.
I wish that the next game gets rid of variations entirely. Because I don't want to play a Baraka that doesn't have fucking chop or blade charge.
Well, the last thing I want is for the next game to do away with variations entirely. But
that is what I want.
I've kind of, there are situations where variations are actually like a plus. It's just the problem is the way I find it is to give every character like 4 set moves that are always there, and those are all classic moves. Like, I'm not playing a Raiden who can't teleport. Fuck off with that.
I was about to say this. Like, can you... Like, I know we sound like bitter old men, and we must, but I want you to think about this first. Picture taking, like, Ryu and removing his ability to do a Tatsumaki kick. Picture E Honda without, like, the butt splash.
Without hands?
Or the fucking hands. Picture Chun-Li with, like, only the fireball and, like, the flip kick, but no lightning kicks. That's what this feels like, and it's really weird. There's this tendency to constantly reinvent and customize and make characters do anything, little thing that you want, that they forget the crux and the core of how the characters came to be.
The only
customization
I see in the next game is just the intros and win poses. That is the only fucking customization I think that should be in the next 2 games. Because I hate this, the choose your own move variations. I even hate the skins. I don't like you can that sub has like 5, 6 different fucking Ermac skins. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, the shaders have to stop. The Street Fighter palettes have to stop.
I'm just going to say that I come from a world where I could select a different color at a touch of a button up to 6. So 6 different versions of one character costume. I'm not very impressed. It takes me about 10 hours to get to either one.
I have never wanted Sub-Zero in colors other than blue. I hate it so much.
What about black and dark blue and white?
I don't
Dark
want
blue is
fucking
a blue,
McDonald's.
motherfucker.
I want all 3 of those.
Black Sub-Zero is Noob Saibot. That character exists.
Sub-Zero was player 2
And
Sub-Zero.
that's the problem. Like, red
Into.
Sub-Zero is Ermac. Purple Sub-Zero is Rain. Those are already things.
I agree with those, but don't fuck me out of my white Sub-Zero. Don't
No,
do
look,
it.
you can have, like... In MK, the alternate katana was silver, and it looked really cool. You know, silver is close to blue. I like
sure.
those... I like those options, but I've never liked Liu Kang in blue. I've never liked Raiden in red. Unless it's Dark Raiden. I just...
Like,
pick alternate palettes that are adjacent, man.
Yes, I definitely agree with colors that suit the character. I'm okay with different colors, but yeah, no, listen, we don't want smoke.
in what world?
At one time he was purple.
When they were making the Sub-Zero whose ice axe is yellow,
Fuck you.
did they actually expect, like... Is this like a Bo-Rai charting thing? Is that on
Yes.
purpose? Like,
Entirely.
it needs
That's
to
a good.
stop.
That's
Like,
a
they need to
good
grow the
skin,
fuck up.
Too.
The
That's
only
a good
reason-
color too.
The only reason I don't have a variation named Yellow is I already have so many options for Sub-Zero that I prefer.
I don't want fucking McDonald's rating. or
So
Aquaman
here is
Scorpion,
my
or
argument
X-Men
that's
Scorpion.
pro-variations.
KFC rating?
My argument that's pro-variations is I would like a game where Kia and Jataka are premier skins for certain.
I guess.
So, like, then you have to equip moves where, like, Serena uses, like, a laser sword for Jataka, you know? Like, that needs to exist. But, like, they should have the same normals? Because, honestly, Kia and Jataka don't deserve to be full characters. But if I was making, like, the next game, like the reboot, the MK12, I would include a mode that's, like, Soul Calibur's... I forget what they call it, the Book of History or whatever shit mode, where you do, like, the little story timeline missions. Like, I'd do that, or something like a Deadly Quest, and it would cover every character's backstory. So, like, you'd have a fucking select screen for this backstory mode, and if you pick Sub-Zero, you're playing through the trilogies. Which means you need to be and Jataka and Serena. That's the game I would make.
I mean, I just make them into Noob Smoke, but okay.
Oh, it's like they are their own character. They're just a double character.
Yeah, that's how I've always pictured them.
I gotcha.
I don't know. I don't... Like, I want them to be like the Shadaloo dolls. I don't want them to be necessarily on the select screen. And the NetherRealm Studios version of that seems to be premier skins.
So about that Terminator, eh? No, but really, anything about him we haven't discussed yet?
It's a good question.
He does all the Terminator things.
Ending?
I have no thoughts on his ending.
It was kind of obvious that they had him sink down into a sea
Well, he
of
doesn't
blood.
give the thumbs up. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
Did they actually play the music at that point?
Look, the Terminator music is nowhere. It's fucking bullshit.
I did like how, again,
It says they know you're thinking it.
Takeda and Kung Jin are definitely still around and hanging out and part of the foursome group kids. They're just not around in the game for reasons.
Sure. What?
Around, they're
Look,
just not
in
around.
case you didn't notice the 5 million Jackie intros about her getting married.
Listen,
He's doing
I'm just glad it's clear that they're still around. They're just not around.
All right.
I hope all four never come back.
I know you do.
I mean, I hope they're not in the next game to be the 10th tournament again. Fucking, why not do that if you're going to reboot?
I don't do anything. I don't even know.
Look, maybe we take 5 years off. Maybe then we'll be like, whatever they do next, whatever.
Like, we can find another cool game to play between now and then.
Yeah,
All right, honestly, do you guys want them to the tournament again?
I don't want this team to do it because they'll fuck it up, but I do want MK1.
That's also why I don't want I don't care about the movie. Like, I don't fucking care. I've already done this so many times, and it was good.
Look,
I had good time. I don't want to rerun.
I hate in media race stories. I want to start at the beginning. And you fix the beginning because they fucked it up. A house on a bad foundation. I say that again and again and again. You have to tell a decent K1 before you can make any other game.
I always thought it was just in media res. Is that how you pronounce that?
I've been pronouncing in medias. I've been pronounced in medias res.
Well, sometimes it's media and sometimes it's medias. It's fucking Latin.
Well, either way, media rage.
In media ras.
In medias ras.
Listen, either way, the thought of a rerun just doesn't.
Well, the thought of a news story by these motherfuckers doesn't appeal to me.
Well,
honestly, the thought of any game from this team does not appeal to me. I want new development.
Well, okay, that seems like the least likely scenario.
Well, of course, that's the problem.
So the only one that has personally to bring some fun is a new story. Potentially.
Well, here's my question. How do you tell a new story when they just...
Potentially. I'm sorry. Grammar. I don't know.
Grammar.
Grace. Yeah. Listen, let's not talk about how we would retell stories.
All right. What do you got? Any questions or developments?
I mean, we could take questions.
I saw some questions.
That is a thing we used to do back in the day.
Cartuthalo, where did it go? He asked why I think developers do DLC months and months apart. Developers do that. All I can talk about from my own experience is that's because we don't have the budget to do anything really close together, so we kind of have to take it as the money lets us do it. And in Mortal Kombat 11's experience, I don't know what the fuck is going on with there. It's crazy. It might be money related. It might be time related. It might be time divided by money equals what the fuck. I don't know, but it's something. And Capcom does their own thing. I don't know why they're still. I don't know what their DLC thing is. It probably is money though. Like money's everything.
Well,
right?
here's the thing. Like, Capcom's not making Street Fighter 6 anytime soon. They don't have anything else, so they're just trying to keep what they do have alive.
I like Honda. Honda came out somewhat recently, right?
People like Honda, but was he demanded?
I liked the 100-hand slap when I was 13. I don't know that I ever play Honda now.
That's the thing of it. It's like, we like these characters. We love these characters even, but we don't need them all the time.
And we didn't get him for a very long time.
We got Honda last.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, how long since Street Fighter V came out was it till we got Honda? Like years.
I think Honda was more like somebody noticed, hey, we've got everybody but Honda.
Yeah, it was like, who else are we going to pull in? It's just...
I suppose in that situation where there's like only one person missing, then yeah, I guess it's understandable.
So like the show Q&A channel is not curated at all. So I don't know if there are questions in here.
Okay. I'm going to start scrolling up.
What are the ones we got today?
Caliclutch asked us, what is one game mode that we would have brought back in MK11? Preferably from the Trilogy or 3D era.
Well, okay, if we're sticking to before NRS, I always say chess from Deception. If we're opening up to whatever, I still miss mentally things from the MK9 Challenge Tower, like the things where you'd be like, there's a horde of Tarkatans rushing at you, and you just spam projectiles. I think that shit was fun. Like, that is more fun than doing, like, tower after tower after tower of regular arcade mode fights.
All right. I mean, for me, it's Conquest. Because that still counts as a mode, right? Not its own separate game.
Sure.
It's Mode City.
Well, which Conquest? Shujinko or Taven?
Good question, right?
Easy question. Shujinko.
I say Shujinko.
It's, I agree with that, but at the same time...
You do. I know you do.
But there are things about each that I prefer.
I actually liked the range of attacks Taven had. Like, that he couldn't just, like...
Like, Taven, okay, he wasn't as, I guess, memorable as Shujinko was, but when you were playing Armageddon's Conquest mode, it felt more like you were playing at least a simple arcade beat-em-up,
Taven's mode is an actual, like, beat-em-up. Like, Shujinko's mode is just the map screen of an RPG.
So if you could just combine those two somehow, bam, you got the perfect Conquest. I don't need to ask that much more of it.
Oh man, when Shujinko hit somebody, like, it was just like, fuck.
Well, some people
That was a hell of a punch.
Some people could not be punched. They would just block, or they'd block and punch back.
Yeah, that's true too. And that was also like, whoa, what the dude? Don't fuck with this guy.
Yeah, this rando NPC is tougher than Shujinko.
This dude's a buff.
Why isn't that guy getting recruited by Damashi?
Damashi, kind of a dumbass. But yeah, Conquest was cool, I guess. I mean, if it was me, I would just be like, make mythologies a mode.
All right.
I mean, that's kind of what Taven's was. It was a 3D mythology.
No, I wanted 3D mythologies. I want like a good mythologies.
Was mythologies good,
dude? Like, I still say that Sub-Zero was, even though it was hard as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but was it good?
It did me good. It did good for me.
If it's so good, how come you haven't finished it, motherfucker?
Listen, I got my fucking internet fixed up. I'm gonna do it where I can just stream it and not do editing. Not have to do any editing. Editing is the problem with all these scenarios if I don't finish shit. If I can remove that from the equation, it's gonna be tight. It's October. It's a little Halloween. I've been thinking about this. It's gonna be tight.
Have you really?
My answer is a bit of a cheat. It's always something that I want returned. It's just something that I've wanted to see since 9. I always wanted to see a mode where you create the tower yourself, where you put the stage and the characters you fight and how many you fight, bosses and shit. You can put in shit in there as well, and it wouldn't be something that you could get the ending from, but I think it'd just be a little thing for funsies.
Create a tower.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right. Question from Akkad. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. Right? It's not AKA D. Either way.
It might be Akka D.
Akka D, AKA D, Akkad, whichever. Question 1. Bring back one stage from each game of the arcade era to MK11, what would that be, and why?
Oh my god.
I mean, it's always the Portal.
It's obviously.
The Deadpool looks too good, man.
I mean, if we're talking about, because they already showed the Deadpool and it looks super awesome in story mode, I do want the fucking Deadpool. But
he said one stage from each game, so go back to MK1 for a second, I think.
Warrior Shrine.
Warrior Shrine, yeah.
Warrior Shrine.
The problem is, too, because Deadpool, Portal, Combat Tomb, all fucking awesome.
I would have looked from that. I mean, the one that we got looks great, but I just missed the Portal so much. It's not funny.
I want an accurate wing, because that's my favorite stage from 2.
An accurate.
Yes, one that doesn't. One that's not a shitty beach.
I kind of like the shitty beach, honestly.
The shitty beach is alright, but I can understand. You know,
it's not the wasteland. Wasteland more than I liked the Armageddon one with like the catapults.
Well, it's like you know how the modern version of Goro's lair has multiple different rooms and designs and shit. I think now, like there's the MK, and then there's like the beach with the Tarkatan pirate ship.
Like, the very term wasteland implies a large area of...
Yeah, the thing about the wasteland is it's shit. Like 90% of Outworld is the wasteland.
It's a very dedicated portion of it.
MK3, I'd go with the church.
From 3...
wait, no, I take that back. I want the rooftop with on the back.
Yeah, definitely the rooftop.
That one's
rooftop
better.
with the
that was pretty
sky.
Iconic. I got 9 didn't do that scene very much.
No, it's
justice at all. They literally put them on a roof, and that was about it. And there was a dragon in the background. Meh.
Garbage.
Well, that's the thing. Like, in order to have that to be accurate, you'd have to have Khan already in there.
Well, I mean, the story was so bullshit because the Elder Gods are like, we won't interfere until the merger starts. But half the buildings in the city are Outworld buildings. The merger is clearly started. They're just being fucking weird.
It has begun.
Wasn't there,
guys, if you can't tell our audience, we have problems with 9's story. Just a little bit.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. Did anyone give their 3? Their MK3 one?
I didn't. It's actually rooftop. A special mention to the Soul Chamber. I almost said the Coal Chamber. The Soul Chamber.
Coal Chamber, yeah.
There's a lot of those.
You remember that stage? Steamroller rolling through my head.
5 coal chambers in Deception?
Through the system up to the point, Sid, you're in my way.
What was it with the 3D era and, like, Mines and Foundries?
Mines and Foundries? I mean, you gotta keep the war machine turning somehow.
I guess.
Oh, boy.
But I do like the Soul Chamber. I would always be game to see it come back, but I think probably the rooftop is the winner. Not that, then the Pit 3.
It's been a long time since we've seen the Pit 3.
Because,
I would like the Pit 3 back.
Pit 3 would be sick.
I don't know about you guys, but like I have always pictured like the Pit 3 as Shao Kahn's Sanctum Sanctorum, you know?
Yeah.
It is like this is where everyone goes to kneel before him, and if he doesn't like what they have to say, fuck off into the pit. You know?
Shao Kahn's castle has like 4 throne rooms.
He's a lot of
He's got one downstairs above hell. He's got one in the Pit 3.
I was hoping for that case from the trailers for Mortal Kombat 11 for the build-up.
Yeah.
That would have been tight.
Yeah, it looked like the cave from Ultimate.
It did.
So, second question is, in what aspects do we think that the NRS era games are worthy successors to the arcade Midway era games?
Jesus.
Wait, did we do MK?
That's true. Arcade.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
For me, I'd choose the Tomb, but yeah, I'd choose the Tomb.
The Tomb is kind of one of the few that stands out. I like the Firewell, the Shinnok boss fight stage, but like the more fleshed out Armageddon version of it.
I don't know if I'm.
They made it another fucking foundry.
Oh.
Like the burning holes in the wall in the back are like the openings to furnaces, and there's like conveyor belts, and it's like the story behind it is that it's an armory where they make weapons out of bone.
Oh, the Shinnok Spire stage?
No, that's similar but different.
Okay, fuck.
It's called the Firewell. Right, it's not excellent. It's like you know how the MK2 tower won't show up in arcade mode. You have to actually pick it in versus. The Firewell works the same way.
But yes,
I'm not seeing anything called the Firewell in the Armageddon stage page.
It might have been just called the Well. I'm not sure.
I just see Shinnok Spire.
Hang on, I'll find the name.
Like, in the meantime, I will just throw mine out. I'm gonna actually go with something a little bit different. this one doesn't get a lot of love. It's the Shaolin Temple area.
I was going to say that one.
I was thinking about the Shaolin Temple, but the Shaolin story mode stage, the already kind of looks close enough.
You think?
I mean, for me, it's reminiscent.
That's fair. Because I figure it's also like the same place where Sub-Zero killed Scorpion in Mythologies.
Yeah, it was.
So it's kind of an important area, and I don't think it gets enough love. But if we're going to consider that as already actually being present in 11, then I guess I will probably also go with the Firewall. Although special mention goes to the fact that in MK Gold, you can fight with the character towers as a background. It's pretty fucked up, yo.
Huh. I'll go with Reptile's Lair.
Reptile's cool.
Yeah.
Reptile's also the Elder God stage.
That one is good too.
Elder God stage came back in X.
Did it really? I don't
Did it say chamber? I would count it.
That's not the same thing.
A little bit.
It's close. It's very close.
The Jinsei Chamber is the Elder God stage.
It's kind of got the gum face.
No, see, because the
one
that looks like the Nexus for 9/11 is closer. Because the actual Elder Gods, like those stone statues, do not count as the Elder Gods.
I guess.
Yeah,
what do they count as?
Statues. Spectral appearance. Some sort of like vision of their faces or their bodies in transparent mode or something. So yeah, not the Jinsei Chamber. I'm sorry, dude.
Okay. I guess. Might count it, though.
All right. Now, Akkad's second question was, did we all go?
I think so.
All right. In what ways do we think Modern MK is better than Arcade MK, if we think that? In what aspects do we think NRS games are worthy successors to the arcade Midway era games?
I like Johnny Cage. That's my answer.
Okay.
Nothing? No one?
Could you run by the question one more time?
All right. In what aspects do we think that NRS era games are worthy successors to the Midway arcade era?
Gameplay.
In what ways do we think that Modern MK is better than Arcade MK, if we think that?
Just gameplay.
Yeah, they're fun games.
And the brutalities mechanic.
Yeah, brutalities are cool.
This question's scary to me. Like,
No,
You're asking the wrong people.
No. I think that there is room for discussion about this.
I'm the right people to ask, but I might be the only right people to ask.
That's why I specifically chose this, because I think it does deserve a little bit of discussion. And I'm going to say, in addition to the obvious gameplay factor, that we know that MK11 through 9 are better competitive and orchestrated fighting games than we've ever had during the arcade era, because let's be honest, they were not very good fighters back then. It was always better available. They don't always get this right, but a lot of the time, I do love, pardon me, I do love the characterization. Now, it is always very easy, as we're used to saying, that, like, the olds are better because they're more fleshed out, a lot more happens, but a lot of people do like the new games more. Like, Christmas Milk says he prefers seeing things take place rather than reading about them. And although I don't quite necessarily agree, I can understand that kind of perspective.
The thing is that
Hang on.
Okay.
It's just, I would have given as a kid anything to see Johnny the way that he's acting right now in the games. Or like Liu Kang. If you'd given me a ticket to see Kung Lao acting the way he is right now, I would want a refund.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, I'm really happy to finally get to see the characters that I've enjoyed kind of come to life in a way I could only ever imagine and saw very rarely in the old days. For better or for worse. Sometimes it's hit, sometimes it's miss, but I'm grateful that I live in an era where I can make that happen. That's my point.
For me, like, in theory, seeing things happen is a million times better than reading about them. But it doesn't. What's happening sucks. I wish Bat had died with Versus DC Universe. I honestly do. As all the enjoyment that I've gotten from gameplay does not compare to how much I've hated the writing. And the costumes. Like, the things that were important to me about Mortal Kombat, the things that made it Mortal Kombat, are dead. And I can't imagine a world where they're coming back, because Warner Brothers is a multinational conglomerate, and anything they make is made by committee, and it's all going to be too many cooks in the kitchen. It's all going to be watered down. It's not... And it's all going to be these attempts to be, like, new and trendy, and whatever they think will sell best.
I do have to admit that whenever I play Cassie or Jackie, I do feel a sense of, hello, fellow kids.
You have no idea.
And it's painful.
Look, you can argue all day that, like, Kotal Khan and Aaron Black are better characters than Darius and Dairo, and you're not wrong, but...
You're not wrong.
The game they're in, I didn't want it.
Let me know when there's an opening.
I think that's your cue.
Okay. Games are way more fun to play, and we talked about that for a second there, and it's true. I think that one thing that I like about it that specifically makes them more fun to play is it just feels like there's more variety now, I guess, with and especially with the variations in MK11, which a lot of people don't like here and there. And I've got my own grievances before with the ball clone not being the same things. I still have more room to, like, man, I get to, like, build out this other version of Sub-Zero and take that and check it out and try it, and, like, oh, I can have another way to play this character before, and I definitely would not have had the opportunity to before, because they're just, wasn't there. But it was also just scratching away all that. Like, you go back to the Midway games, and, like, there's so much, like, universal moveset to characters back then, and the arcade era especially.
Well, yeah.
And
we're typing. Shut up.
Yeah, Smoke Man. Come on, man.
At least mute yourself.
You're right. It was not you. Stop it. They're just, the games themselves feel like there's more incentive to, like, try other characters. When I see, like, oh man, what is that cool thing? It's not just another, like, oh, what is that cool special move this other character has? Like, it's like, whoa, what is all this other shit going on in these different animations, and not just doing high kicks, low kicks. And that's something that, kind of has pulled me around to trying other characters, unlike I did back in those days. And on top of all that, like, I do feel that I've had more compelling new characters since Mortal Kombat 9 has come along. Not Mortal Kombat 9 specifically, although Mortal Kombat 9 I did feel just like other characters more so than I used to, just because of that gameplay thing we were talking about before. And, like, fuck, man, Smoke was fun to... Jesus Christ, he was fun to play Mortal Kombat 9.
Oh, God, don't get me started. I've got
like,
a whole hour's worth of, like, masturbatory noises to make me get to the Smoke retro, and we talk about the
it's crazy.
I mean, again...
It's so crazy.
Again, like, when I talk about what I hate about 9X and 11, it's never the gameplay. Like... MK9 is maybe the most fun to play of the fighting game MKs.
I would probably agree, yeah.
That I've ever played. Like, I have gotten more fun out of 9 than another game. But it's like, what do I play these games for? Like, the most fun I've ever had at 9 is still less entertainment to me than watching, Netflix. Like, I don't really play video games to play video games. I play them to ingest more storytelling. That's kind of what I live my life for. And so if your story is garbage, your product is garbage. and
that's the thing. Like, what do you come to these things for?
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
everybody comes to it for something different, and I get that, and I'm not going to...
it's not necessarily a pride point for me, but I've always come to Mortal Kombat more or less for Sub-Zero. And, Sub-Zero related characters, and as such, I've had a lot more fun with Sub-Zero in almost all aspects since Mortal Kombat 9. Like, fuck, dude. Like, Mortal Kombat X, I got the fucking Tea Party scene, and that shit was tight. In the beard, and he just looked fucking in that game. In this game, I got him and Scorpion taking on the fucking Lin Kuei, which was fucking sick as shit. That was tight. Like, so when I come to these games, like I said, I'm not proud of it, but oftentimes I do come to these games for a good Sub-Zero experience. Man, I've gotten that really, really, really nicely in these most recent 3 games. Yeah, Cyber Sub-Zero was whatever, but you know what? I got both of those motherfuckers in that game. And that was tight as fuck.
I feel
like, yeah.
For me, when I think about like the positives of the stories of like, not so mostly X and 11, I still think of them as like Michael Bay movies with some good Sub-Zero scenes.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Whereas I used to think of Mortal Kombat games as like good stories all around. Now I just think of them as Michael Bay movies and hope I get a good Sub-Zero scene.
Okay, I've got another aspect. I got another aspect to cover.
Okay.
And that's closure. Now, I mean, I know that the way MK11 ended didn't make a lot of people happy.
Made me.
Because, okay, good. I'm glad that you at least see that, because I see a lot of like, oh, nothing matters anymore because they're going to just reset the timeline.
Well, that's the thing. Those people are living on like an 8-year delay. Nothing Matters Anymore was the first reboot. The moment you reboot something, nothing matters anymore. This is the second reboot, and they're just now catching on?
I don't know about like not matters, but because I see how important
it sets a
road
precedent.
is up to the story.
Maybe it's because I've been superhero comics for 20 years, but like every time DC does a crisis, I stop caring about DC for a really long time, and it's really hard to come back
have to be
once they've
invested.
rebooted.
It's like, why should I care?
I spent all that time investing, and you just erased all those stories. Why would I do it again? I'm
still not convinced there's going to be a reboot like on the way. I know I'm one of like the super few that's like that. I gather, but I'm still not. I kind of like the idea of just for a minute let us live in this universe where there's not a Liu Kang or a Raiden, and they're just gone.
Well, why would Liu Kang and Katana recreate the universe exactly the way it was when they died? Why would they redo those events?
I don't know what the fuck they would do. Does those two people are... I don't know what they would do. I don't know if I
would you
really care to
have
see
the Revenants happen again if you were in control of time?
All I'm saying is this. I vastly prefer an ending where, like, Raiden willingly gives up his powers, Liu Kang Katana becomes supreme of all reality, and then, shape things as they see fit, rather than Armageddon, where it was like, okay, and then everyone died, or okay.
Well, that was the entire problem. Like, Armageddon...
Even then, like, this random guy we just brought back from a India's past, champion of all Mortal Kombat,
Like, Armageddon never should have been as the end of the universe in the first place, and then they were promising closure that they never delivered on, and they knew they weren't going to deliver. It was a lie to begin with. Like, that game is a lie.
The current situation, though, like, the picture is a little more interesting than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Because there is, like we just said there, like,
it's a half-finished picture.
Well, if we're going to talk about getting
reality
closure...
where Raiden... Well, hang on. This reality where, like, Raiden's gone, Liu Kang's gone, Katana is, I guess, gone, too. Kronika is also gone. Cool. Garrus is gone. He's under the sea, which is cool. So now you got this fun universe. Quan Chi is gone. That's pretty tight. You got this future now where this universe now where like Shang Tsung has just come out and he's like one of the premier bitches that's out there, right? Which is fucking sick. That's what everybody's wanted for a long time.
Big bitches.
Listen, and that sounds tight as fuck to me. I guess Shinnok is still kind of alive, but he's just ahead, so whatever.
That's how you like reconcile. Like what's been changed and what hasn't.
Well, nothing's really been changed.
Because the other thing is, like, you're talking about bad guys that are left, and the reality is Shao Kahn is still out there, and that's just the worst idea.
And Shao Kahn got fucked up, too, so I don't even know what his...
Oh, he got blinded. Like, that guy doesn't have access to healing magic.
That would be fucking tight. If he comes back and he is blind, keep that intact. But we also have this group now, so, like...
Well, is Kotal going to stay paralyzed if Shao Kahn stays blind?
Probably. Like, I wouldn't mind that either. But, like,
there are already intros
that,
in this
young
game.
Jax goes away, right?
Intros
Young
not
Jax,
canon, but all of the intros are, like, from this perspective of, like, they're set after story mode, but they're all talking like there wasn't a reboot. So, like, Kotal has intros where he's like, my paralysis has been healed. I'm ready to fight again.
Yeah,
and they're all talking like Katana is still the Khan of Outlaw.
Schrodinger's future sort of.
Like she didn't run off to be Queen of Time.
Your vertebrae is out of alignment. There we go. It's good now.
And damn, if Sonya's gone moving forward, that's tight. You only have Old Man.
Sonya's
Jax.
not gone. I'm sure that if they continue on, like if they pretend that there wasn't a reboot, or they say that Katana and Liu Kang one that's just like the previous one, so they could keep going. Sonya will just have been replaced by younger Sonya.
Well, no, it's like those two fuckers went and created a timeline that's another timeline. It's like a branching string to another timeline or whatever. They're not affecting this one anymore. They're just gone.
Well,
and so are all those
my
motherfuckers.
Thing. If we're talking about, if we're throwing around the phrase closure, closure is what comes at the end of a thing. Like, there doesn't need to be an MK12 for me. This series can be over now.
I do want that MK12 though. I want to see Old Man Jax. I want to see Kung Lao.
Already got those guys Jax twice.
We're already here, man.
Trying to take on Shang Tsung now, who's back, and he better. I want him back, and I want him to be carrying again.
That sounds fucking lame, man.
That sounds tight. I want to see that shit, and with the combat kids, they're still
Old Man Jax. I don't want your MK12, man. I ain't buying that shit.
That's fine. I want my MK12.
So many people are sick of Jax.
The period where you have to let your characters stop aging.
You know what I wonder as a Jax fan is, how do you fix that? How do you make people not sick of Jax? Is it even possible?
You let him take a rest for a game or two. That's all you need to do.
It's kind of sad.
I love Jax.
You know what I think? Really do. You know what? In terms of like,
sick of him.
Here's my suggestion for like the whole characters need to take a break thing, because I also feel that way about like Johnny and so the mainstays. Make a game that isn't set in the present. Like, make the Great Kung Lao game. That'll give a lot of people time on the shelf.
I'm just... Actually, I'll chip into that. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty for the Great Kung Lao game, or, like, the Lin Kuei Origins game, or the Shirai Ryu Origins game.
Honestly...
Let me play as, like, Takeda, if I've gotta. I'll take it.
I mean, now I'm coming at it from the... I like beat-em-ups more than fighting games anyway, but, like, make the Katana Melina Jade game.
I've been advocating that as a JRPG for 13 years.
Like,
Whenever I mentioned
it's time
bringing Jax
for
back
NRS
for
to
that
step
thing,
away from the fighting genre and do other things. That's the big thing for me.
I kind of thought more of Jax as being, like, an advisory type thing, not actually a playable character. He actually is older and not whatever on the thing.
I don't know. Desk Job Jax
Kung Lao would still be around, but
like
he's
NPC
not
Jax I could deal with.
He was actually tighter in this game than I liked him in a long time. He's been sick in this game.
I loved him too. But think about this. What you're advocating is open grounds for the further adventures of the Combat Kids. Do you also want that?
He kind of does.
You know my answer to that.
Django is one of the few people who doesn't hate those motherfuckers.
I don't hate them either.
I want to see it evolved, and I want to see them going up against Shang Tsung.
I want them all to get completely rewritten backstories. Like, Takeda is the most fine the way he is. The others need some fixing.
They do.
We have a good point brought up to us in the general chat right now. And D4 mentions that Baraka got to set out a game, and it helped him a lot.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes says, you do what you did with Baraka.
I feel like the everybody being sick of Jack's situation is a lot more intense than anyone's ever been sick of another character.
And you give him a seat at the table.
I don't think that Razor's wrong. I really don't think he's wrong.
People are, like, up in arms about not wanting Jax back. Like, it's intense.
Wow, you're so funny.
Weirdly intense.
Up in arms. Look at you.
Fuck you.
Like, no, it's like Sonya or Kano. The message is, I'd like a game that doesn't involve fucking G.I. Joe. It's not what I came here for. That's all there is to it. Like, Jax is like the typical example, but Jax even got his own game, man. That's too. Jax has had his own
just game. Because I'm beating him with my Jax and MK11.
His own game, his evolution as a character, either into an angry cyborg or a broken father. He has had a lot of focus.
It's true.
And he is in almost everything.
It's true. But
I love the guy, but
I think, because I keep bringing up the gameplay thing, the fact that he's the only Razzler, the only powerbomb guy, and it's whenever they try to create another powerbomb guy, the fans don't take to them, and that's why Jax keeps coming back, because he's the only wrestler they've been able to make work.
Kano into that. Kano's kind of getting to be a wrestler too.
Well, yeah, Kano has picked up a lot of like clotheslines and choke slams and shit too, but people are also sick of Kano. Like, I'm more sick of Kano than any other character.
They're both kind of it for me.
Like, if it were me, I totally think Suhao can work. Like, if Suhao was so bad, then why do they keep stealing his traits and giving them to Kano?
You are spewing bullshit, Razor. You have argued that Suhao cannot work and that Jax needs to be the wrestler before on the show.
I don't remember that.
I remember this.
If you just put a trench coat on him, he's fine.
No,
really.
I have argued that you need Jax because he's the powerbomb guy, but when I really sit down and think about it, Suhao can be the powerbomb guy.
Really, though.
Okay, but like, honestly, if you do that, except for like with Tremor, then everyone is happy.
No, because Tremor has his own moveset already. Tremor has a whole thing. Like,
we have fun.
I just think, look, you look at what Stryker became in MK9, and it proves anybody can be fixed. And I've been saying that for years, too. All you have to do is take the character fucking seriously and put some effort in, and you can make him
disappear games.
But
there's that too. Like, don't fuck it up at the end and not bring him back.
You're missing an important thing, Razor. What does NRS want to do?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Haven't you considered that?
That's why I say I don't want a game from these developers.
We're paying attention to the cheese Danish again. We agreed not to do that.
I want different human beings to make the next Mortal Kombat. Nothing can...
No one wants to do anything right now. I think
so I'm scrolling through the Q&As right now, and there's a few... Are we going to discuss the MK movie at all much? Yes, no. We absolutely will.
When it becomes more of a thing?
Yeah.
We'll probably have
whenever that becomes a thing.
A lot to say about that. Like when there's trailers and shit.
Rajaroth asks us, this is a long ways off, but he's curious what we'll say about Spawn when we see him in action. Since he feels the overall opinion of him from us is lukewarm but better than the Joker.
He's voiced by Keith David. Yeah. I've won this day.
I mean, yeah, Keith David is definitely a win. And look, I don't hate Spawn. I just hate Todd McFarlane.
Everyone does, I think.
Okay. In as much as it's actually possible for me to give a shit about Keith David as Spawn is something that I'll be downloading day one.
There's been
if that puts things into perspectives.
There's been two things I've watched about Spawn. I always said that he should fuck off. Unless two things. The cape needs to be like a thing he uses, and it's Keith David. And they gave exactly what I wanted, so I'm fucking happy.
How much he uses the cape remains to be seen, but we're going to do a Spawn episode. We will do a Netherkast for every DLC character.
I'm looking forward to Spawn a lot. I'm going to play that motherfucker.
And when the Spawn episode comes, fully in depth about how I feel about Todd McFarlane and why.
Well, this should actually be your episode, because we were looking, out of all of us, by far and away, you were looking forward to, like,
yeah, I am, like, Terminator are two of my favorite films of all time. And, like, as guest characters go, like, I was always half joking, half serious, but whenever we were asked what guest characters would we actually years and years, because we've been critical of guest characters as a concept, say, I want Ash Williams, and I want RoboCop and Terminator.
Look, let's be fair. It's not we've been critical of guest characters as a concept. It's BC's kind of on them, unless when appropriate. Temp doesn't really care much. I'm open to it, and I loathe them with the power of 1,000 dying suns.
I am open to it when it pens me specifically, and I hate it when it's not a character I give a shit about. That's
I have been burned before with Jim.
I mean, so in terms of like how I feel about the Terminator, I want more skins, and I don't know, like, I can't necessarily play him. He's not really to my style. You know, I'm the fast rushdown guy, so that was always going to be... And that was, like, I love 13th movies, but I barely ever played Jason in X.
That's because no one watched the movies when they made him.
I mean, there is part of that. Like, Terminator is far more referential to his material.
With Jason, they literally did the let's not say we did thing with the sleeping bag kill.
Jason feels like what you get if someone's only seen Freddy versus Jason. There was a lot of a lot of wasted potential, a lot left on the table with that.
Imagine an X-ray where he just puts you in a sleeping bag and whacks you against a tree that was just there, and it's just one hit. You see all their life just fucking drain.
It sounds cool.
That would have been tight.
It would be nice. It would really... You know, there's a lot of things they could have done with Jason they didn't do. But for me, I got
Jason should have been in this game with all the skins and shit.
I got 80% of the Terminator I want. I would really like those T1 and T2 skins, man.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
And that's...
I'm going...
I mean, that's how I feel. That's all I got to say. Like, I'm mostly happy. Someone who isn't really going to get to play him much because I'm not really the stiff kind of grapply character. Like, what... Tanky, whatever Terminator as, my style. But, like, in terms of the visuals and the quotes and just referencing the movie, there's a lot in there to love.
I love it when he eats shit and just falls on his face. It's so great.
It's pretty good.
I love that shit.
I'm looking back at a poll here from fucking...
no T3 star glasses.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Come on. You know we wanted that shit. You know.
Dude, I'm telling you, WB thing. I think NRS wants to do what we want, but WB won't let them.
There might actually be like a rights thing, like who owns what movie.
I don't think it's a rights thing. I think it's like we're prohibiting you from using this stuff because we need you to promote the new stuff.
No,
you can only
it's either they just want to promote the new stuff. Because, I mean, on the one hand, yeah, there are no T3 sunglasses.
Well, no, here's the thing.
But on the other hand, there's no fucking T2 jacket.
There are T1 sunglasses, though. Like, there is all kinds of stuff that references the previous... Like, his moveset is totally based on T2.
This shit is being withheld for rules.
There are super references to T1 and T2 already. It's just...
I don't think that they care about the moves. I think they only care about the iconography.
The Terminator rights are super cut. Like, every movie was made by a different studio.
Are they?
Yeah, like...
Tell us more.
A lot of it has to do with, like, James, trying to get published by who would publish him. Like, the studio that he signed up with after T2, like, and they kept the rights, and they made T3, and then, like, a different studio made Salvation, and a different studio made Genesis, and has it now, like, it's finally back with Cameron, but the producer, he's not involved with, like, the movie really? Like, Dark Fate is a weird situation, because, like, well, you remember with Genesis, where, they filmed these fucking advertisements. Cameron is sitting in a chair, and he's like, I saw the movie, and I loved it. And it's fucking Genesis, man. He's bullshitting for money.
Yeah, he's a hack.
So I don't know what, like, it's a mess. So I don't know what WB own and can reference and can't reference. I don't know if they can do the skins or not, and they just didn't. I know what I wish was there. That's all I can tell you.
Still scrolling up through questions. Man, we really do not moderate our Q&A channel. Holy shit. About, like, roughly... The popular said that Terminator was the most looked forward to character in the entire combat.
I wonder what people would have looked like known at the time that it wasn't Arnold's voice. You know?
Do we know why he didn't do the voice? Is it just time constraints, or is it because he doesn't
I don't know that Arnold does video games, and if he does, he's probably super fucking expensive.
It's either availability or expense.
I thought he was in like a VR with a voice.
I don't know. He might have.
Spared no expense.
All right, going quick backwards to the very start of this channel and our questions. Liam6783 asked us at the end of April, in honor of Japan crowning its new emperor this week, here's an imperial question for you. Who would you rather be ruled by and why? Emperor Shao Kahn or Emperor Palpatine?
What?
Why are we...
Palpatine kind of ran a decent, like, society?
Yeah, that's
like, you
true.
never actually get a
jobs.
sense from the movies what they're being oppressed by. Like...
Mostly the expanded universe.
I mean, you only see things from the rebel side, and those are the rebels, so they're all fugitives. They're all on the run and fighting. You never see what it actually looks like to live under the thumb of Palpatine. But it doesn't look like a dead wasteland, so he automatically beats Shao Kahn.
in Palpatine's universe, there is civilization. I'm gonna take that. It's
like entire purpose
here in the real world.
Shao Kahn's entire purpose as emperor is desire. Like he drains the life and murders most of the population of every realm he conquers. He wants soul, and he only keeps enough subjects alive to rule over to say that he has subjects. Like it's the. You're totally like it's Mad Max world. Whereas, like,
and to help
son, at least there's, like, society, you know?
We live in a society.
You said it again.
Gamers rise up.
All right. Krajax the Raging Lion said, asked, killing the eldest, dumb. Who the hell is going to make sure the one being doesn't come back other than them?
Oh my god.
The one being doesn't matter anymore.
Obviously, Kronika doesn't care because her plan is before she killed the Elder Gods, so they'll be back.
There we go. Question.
I'm gonna miss that monkey elder god.
Jen/Dead asks us, being confirmed for MK12 adds a Suhao icon. Yes. Yes.
I agree with the Suhao icon.
Yep, definitely.
Snake Eyes asks us, between meeting the great Kung Lao and being shot, what other fun goofs or scrambles would you like to see Geras be part of? The burning of the Library of Alexandria?
So here's my question. Why would Geras get involved in anything?
He's bored?
I feel like that has the potential to, like, mess up the timeline. It's like...
Yeah. He's a very shitty watcher.
Yeah, it's like the whole...
I would like to see him be on the Titanic. An afternoon of relaxation.
Like, every story about time travelers is essentially about how you shouldn't interfere and change history. So he really shouldn't be showing up and getting involved in things. Because it'll be like... It's that age-old question of, like, what if you kill Hitler as a baby and then the Nazis are led by someone even worse?
The age-old question. No, seriously, I'd put him on the Titanic. Not like as an observer, but there that day. So that him sinking in the ocean becomes a running gag.
Well, yeah, like, if he's doing it the way a watcher should do it, where you're, like, there but from afar so you can see it and you don't get involved, that's fine. But, like, Some of Gearus's like intros are like, "Oh yeah, I fought the great Kung Lao." Why? Did Kronika tell you to fight for him for some reason? Why?
He just wanted to learn and get better.
Just gonna say it again. Shoehorning your new characters into the past canon is not the way to make them likable.
No.
Well, here's the thing: is that like there is a way to do that. Like Bo Raicho was shoehorned into the origin story. Su Hao was shoehorned into like having worked for the Special Forces since before MK1. But those actually made the stories deeper because those characters aren't Mary Sue's. Like they don't.
You should do it in the way that makes sense, is all.
Yeah, they feel like a net, and they don't interfere too much, and they don't like steal spotlight from anybody.
Like MK Fan 2000 asks, apologies if this has already been brought up. Since they like to do everything within one continuity, I don't think the next game will be at the tournament from MK1. I think Luna Katana's roles as keepers of time or make it clear that they can't be involved in the timeline that they create. It's also important to think about them as characters and what they could change, from having Kung Lao compete in the tournament and win to never having the great Kung Lao lose to Goro, to even ensuring Edenia is never merged with Outworld. I'd love to hear your overall thoughts on this.
If the people creating the timeline are good guys and they prevent us from ever existing, then there's never any conflict and there's never any story and there's no MK12 at all.
It's like, what do they allow to happen? Just stuff that they have absolutely
and that's kind
no
of,
knowledge
like, you're kind of
or...
stuck unless you say that some things are out of their control. Like maybe Shao Kahn's birth can't be prevented because he's one of the gods, you know? Maybe Shinnok can't be prevented because he's an elder god, you know? Maybe there are some things that they can't change. And that's the only way you're going to get bad guys. Because if the people who decide the timeline are good people, then it's like the old god allows suffering to exist.
Creation of a time god just kind of fucks everything like that.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Honestly, I think MK12 should be not even like the way 9 was a semi-sequel to Armageddon. I think 12 should be set in a completely different multiverse. I
kind of want 12 to just take off and do things completely differently.
Like it should be a real reboot, like a complete fresh start from scratch, and it shouldn't reference Time God Lu at all.
It can't at all.
I feel like it's like if we're going to get like She Nightwolf, so expectations for MK12 to ever reference anything from the past. It might be missing characters, it might have different versions of characters, whatever. Let them do whatever they want to do.
No, I'm not. Whatever it is, I'm not excited for it because like Elseworlds stories, and that's the only kind of story because they keep rebooting. All I want is to go back to the Armageddon universe. I just want the original MK. I just want one story. I want one Unica what ifs and alternate timelines.
At this point, he wants what happened to the man of tomorrow. It's true.
Well, I feel the same way about DC. I want them to undo Flashpoint. I want the post-crisis continuity back. And it'll never happen. That's what I want.
I mean, I'd ask you questions about that, but that's for another time. I don't think they brought a post-crisis back. Not everything, though.
What are you drinking, Chad?
Tonight, it is a birthday gift from my good friend Yuri. It is Benjamin Brunel red wine from 2017.
Ooh. How is it? How's it treating you?
A little bit dry, a little bit fruity, but French.
It is French. It sounded French.
Do I sound drunk? I hope I don't sound too drunk.
You do not.
Sounds nice, actually. I've been drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade. Strawberry lemonade. I could go for some wine. Something a little classier. Maybe a little stronger.
All right. Any questions before we round out the night? Oh no, I'm tabs and okay, here we are. Aim Dopeness asks us if we could undo one retcon for a character, who would it be? Hit the ball.
I mean, which? Because Cabal has several.
Just one.
Okay,
just
so
one.
if I do just one retcon, Lena's birthday.
Yeah. I'm torn between the birthday and the lips.
Well, why?
What?
I mean, the lips have, like, they don't have that much of, like, just outside, you know.
I
like,
despise the lips.
Day
I think, well,
has
the lips have a
implications.
psychological effect on man base that can't be ignored. Like,
I also
she needs
think
to be
that-
unwaifued a bit and restored to a monster.
And she's hella monster. Always.
Like, it's strange because
You're
you
fucked
say
up
that.
if she's not in any fandom.
It's strange because you say that, but I think the lips are worse. I hate looking at them.
I think they're worse too, which is why I'm like, she's a monster either way. What the fuck's the big deal?
I think it's more of like they're trying to be more sexy, or it's just contrived. Like, how does she speak without lips when no one cares for Baraka?
For my retcon, I'm gonna have to go with Cabal because, man, that guy just has gotten fucked so bad. And it's not like an aesthetic thing or a fake. Like, but dude, that.
Well, okay, so the Cabal you want, describe.
The Cabal is awfully similar to Colonel Black.
Typing noises continue.
Very typing.
Whoops.
I know it's you,
TBH.
Smoke Man.
Shut up.
AF. Let me see. The Cabal I want is Mortal Kombat 9. Like,
You want him to have been a cop?
I want him to be dumbass and
Oh god.
kind of sound cool.
Well, I mean, those are definitely obvious things, but I think, like, in terms of specifics, for me, the only Cabal that works is one that is
I'll
a
take the
black
Shaolin Cabal.
dragon when Shao Kahn's invasion starts,
Thanks, Warriors.
and switches to the good guy side because the extermination squads fuck him up.
I just want a wall.
Well, yeah, and the thing, like, after the invasion, I want him to still be alive and to become a vigilante crime fighter to stay that way.
Okay.
Because that's the only cool Cabal. Like, all the other Cabals are garbage.
Like, I care about is not having the one that's, you know, too slow. Whatever, I'll run faster. Off, man. That's the stupidest thing.
Pretty.
MK11 Cabal, I've said this before, is 50-50 to me. I don't like a lot of the silly, punny dialogue, but that's something that a lot of members of the cast, because of the writing. I like when he's kind of hoist on his own petard. When he's talking to Shang Tsung and he's like, "Stealing my soul's gonna make you faster?" Yes, that's how it works. Shit. Like,
Yeah.
I like kind of wacky Cabal.
That's
but
like one of the tamest, though.
but not stupid Cabal.
Yeah.
There's the seeds of an interesting character aspect in there, and I want to see more of that. I just don't want him to be making speed puns for the rest of the series' history.
He's like fucking Kano points at Sonya. She burns you. Really? Okay, cool. Fucking, he said she burned. He's over there laughing his ass off. He thinks it's funny that you buy it.
I don't like that he's an idiot. I'm not.
Let's just
But he has moments where it's like, you could have got out like I did, where he's just really casual about the life that he's living. I appreciate those moments.
Well, this is part of why I want to say, like, when I talked about, like, my dream next game having, like, a Deadly Alliance style conquest mode where you character, and then you do a bunch of, like, missions that cover their backstory. One of the things you can do with that is retell special the way Tobias intended, where you actually get to see, like, you start with how Sonya's partner died and how Kano lost his. That story is gradually all go soft, like kind of a good person deep down, and Kano's bullshit is way too over the line for him. And that's part of what I want to see. Like, develop Black Dragon Cabal and explain why he ends up one of the ones during the invasion.
Yeah, people forget the chosen one aspect. He's actually supposed to be like one of the very best of the best.
Like, picked him for Team Raiden based on what he could do, not things he had already done. Like, he saw the potential, like, the good in his soul. And that aspect has been lost.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Just, I don't know. Give me his funnier moments, but give him that heart of gold I ask. That's about it.
And you know, just a one note like Sonic the Hedgehog, who's always talking about going fast.
The less dumb puns, the better. Unless you're Smoke. Smoke should be spouting lately.
Is that really how we're going to do it? Like,
yes, it is.
You know, Smoke can tell other jokes. He could be the sense. He doesn't have to be
here.
Guy.
Okay, that's for another time.
Let's get him here, and then we can talk about what he's saying.
My actual answer to this is I would unjackass Kung Lao. To a degree.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine in X. They found a nice happy medium.
Yeah, X was not that bad.
Like, X was tight.
X Kung Lao actually, like, I like old man Kung Lao saying wise things. You know? Those were some good intros.
And the hair.
Snarky and wise is fun. I jack myself off directly into my mouth on an hourly basis is not. I just want him to shut up.
Oh, him doing... Okay.
Yeah, that mental image, like, you had to wait for the end of that sentence.
Okay.
I know.
It wasn't you.
It was meant to be attention grabbing. Because that's all the guy does now in 11. He's been flanderized. Worst possible extreme.
Like
and it is
you've
so
heard
irritating.
of the great Kung Lao? Well, I'm even greater. That's not okay.
Yeah,
the man needs humility.
No one like this is a Shaolin monk.
Like, even at his most arrogant, he should never be saying he's better than his ancestor, because that does not hold up to scrutiny at all.
It's some shit tier quality writing, and I don't know who decided on that.
It's Kittleson. Kittleson
is
not.
No, you know what? I don't think it was Kittleson, because
it may have been Dominic.
It's kind of like how is Kung-Lao's got a chip on his shoulder with something to prove, has been ongoing silks. And you know what? Whoever's making that call, no. Okay? Just stop. I can get a bit of jealousy. I can get a bit of competitiveness. The character is fucking annoying now because whoever's pushing this shit. And it just needs to stop. Please.
Well, for me, it's just like, who is writing the dialogue? Because it's a matter of nuance and subtlety not being there. And, you know, Brian Chard, we know for a fact, wrote the dialogues in X. And, you know, Chard was responsible for some of the bad ideas in 9, I will grant, but at least, like, he's improving. Like, he was learning, and he was getting better at dialogue. A lot of the intros in X are really good. I don't think Sean Kittleson is capable of subtlety and nuance, and I think our first clue to that should have been all the fucking puns in the comic book.
I like MKX Kung Lao a lot.
Sean Kittleson is writing MK the way you'd write a fucking comic book. You know, like a superhero story for 12-year-olds. I don't think he's capable of adult dialogue.
I do love it when Sub-Zero just says ability to freeze. I mean, that's one of my favorite fucking things.
That's a fucking reference to mythologies.
It's tight as hell. Stop that shit.
I actually like that one.
It's kind of cute. Like, I don't have a problem with those little, like, quotes here and there, but, like, the full intros, a lot of them are childish.
Like, I appreciate Sonya actually saying combat time.
That's the thing of beauty and a joy forever. Yes, please, more of that.
Now I need Raiden. Let's kick your jets and jam.
Oh, shit, that's a deep cut.
Well, I mean, from the people who spelled Kiva wrong, I don't expect them to be really good at the Defenders of the Realm references.
Yeah.
But
they really should just patch that shit.
But it's like, there are multiple dialogue delivery systems. There's the mid-round taunts, And those are a great place to say those little quotes that are from things, like ability to freeze and combat time. And then there's everything else, like story mode and the full intros. And those require a little more quality, like a little more taking it seriously and, writing for an audience that isn't fucking 15. And I don't think they're there. I think they're closer to being there in X than they are now. And that's a shame.
It's a shame.
But what was the question? It was, what would you retcon? Like, if you could unretcon.
What single thing would you undo?
Right. I mean, I picked Melina only because other things that I would undo are too big to nicely. Like what the one thing I would undo is Raiden getting a message from the future during the tournament.
I think that, the reason I don't say gods say this tournament is a front in MK9 is because I'll be here for an hour. It'll be like a poo bitching out Seymour Skinner about the Jurassic Park rip-off. It's just going to pass forward and will explain every single reason why I hate this so much, why that scene should have never happened, why the crux of Mortal Kombat is to protect realms and not... No, it was actually a trick. They don't...
It was all Sindel because the Elder Gods aren't actually enforcing...
Just fuck off. Scrub that out of my... Fuck you. Fuck me for that. No.
I think I'm going to change my answer to Sindel Resurrection Plan and when it was conceived.
I want Sindel's suicide to have been just because she wanted to die. I don't want her to be a secret hero who cast any spells. I want her to have been driven mad by being forced to be married to Shao Kahn, so she jumps off the fucking balcony. That's all I want. I want her to be a fucking tragedy and not a secret hero.
Yeah. All right. Have more questions.
We can next.
Yeah, we can name a million fucking things.
Sindel conversation is upcoming. Believe you us. I'm going to close, I think, the last one because we've now been going for roughly 2 hours with one from Kiala Clutch, who's got a bunch of things in this queue and has since probably May. In regards to the main story, we see Liu Kang is now the controller of time and new protector of Earthrealm. If he's restarting history and new Elder Gods are formed, who do we think would be the new champion of Mortal Kombat? Knowing Liu Kang and the universe is inevitable, how do we think he would write history?
So here's the weird thing about, Liu Kang having control of time. If he makes things go as similar to how the history he knows went as possible, then, his family tree will still exist. There'll still have been, a Li Kang and a Lin Kang who have... There will be, 2 Liu Kangs will exist. One of them who was born to parents in the 60s like he's supposed to be. Or the 70s, probably, based on his age. I'd have to do the math on that. It was probably 70s. And the Liu Kang who is the god of time. Or Titan of time? Whatever. Be 2 Liu Kangs. If he lets history play out the way it's supposed to. But if, because, I'm thinking, if it were me, and I'm choosing who would be the champion of Mortal Kombat, who is destined to win the tournament, historically speaking, Earthrealm is fucked when it's not Liu Kang, so it's gotta be Liu Kang.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything that he could really do to make sure the match between Great Kung Lao and Goro goes better.
We have seen samples of how when Liu Kang's not around, everybody's kind of screwed. Johnny Cage is not going to win that tournament.
I would like to say that as an extreme. if he had to actually break the rules and come down and didn't give a shit about the one being showing up to talk to Kung Lao. Look, get your head out of ancestor died.
Well, so there's a weird...
I could see that happening.
So there's a weird thing in a lot of the arcade endings in 11, where, like, the person becomes the controller of the hourglass, and then its timeline, they are reincarnated as themselves, and they live their life, and then they awaken to the fact that they're the god of time at some point in adulthood. So, I mean, you could do that with Liu, where he lives his life over again, and then when it comes time to defeat Shao Kahn, awakens to his Time Titan powers.
Like, I know that you're not going to particularly have a lot of expectations about the reboots, if any, come.
Well, there's another suggestion, and
like,
it's if you're really going to commit to doing like what ifs and alternate timelines from now on, I want to see
completely different.
I want to see the Elseworld where Kung Lao is the guy who goes to the last round and fights Goro and Shang. That universe, I want them to lose. I want to see the MK timeline where Shao Kahn has the right to conquer Earthrealm, and we see like the heroes of Earth rebelling against him from an underdog position.
So basically, an extended version of MK3.
Sort of.
Does Raiden have the right to have chosen ones, even in that example?
Yeah. Like, I kind of want to see, like, what the universe would look like if Earth was losing. And I want why Earth is losing to be Kung Lao went to the tournament because Liu Kang is the god of time.
That'd be cool,
I guess,
actually.
maybe...
I think that would actually be interesting.
That'd be sick.
I think there's a fun thing that you could do if you had...
do what ifs, then commit a lot of stuff. Like, don't make it so simple. Like, don't try to replace the original. Make it a clear what if.
And here I was actually about to say...
I agree.
Would we be okay with someone apart from a Liu Kang winning the tournament? Hey, there's your answer.
I think it would be fun if someone, like... If Raiden wasn't in the picture, maybe you had Liu Kang... I don't know what the fuck that means. He's a time, whatever.
It's like,
but if he interacts with Bai-Han during mythologies, and he changes Bai-Han's path, and Bai-Han wins the first tournament.
Yeah, what if Bi-Han never becomes Noob Saibot? What if Kitana never finds out her true past and turns good? Do the weird things. Like, think about what are the most interesting Marvel and DC what if Elseworld stories, and it's always the ones that are way, way different from the main timeline, like Red Sun Superman. Do something where stuff is really weird and different.
You might have Cyber Kwai Liang again.
Yeah, but okay with it if it wasn't trying to be the main timeline.
Me too.
I mean, Bai-Han is buff as fuck, dude. He fucking fucked up all those guys in mythologies.
What if,
he could do it?
We talked about this in the Sub-Zero Lost episode just recently.
Yep.
I would be interested in Cyber Sub if we actually got to see Smoke become the unmasked scar on his eye guy, like Liv that escaped from the Initiative life, instead of fucking making him a bit part and killing him off.
Shit, yeah.
Go all the way with it. Make Smoke a main character. Have him, like, actually replace Kwai Liang's place because Kwai Liang becomes a robot.
Do we keep Smoke as being in an Enra? Yes, I think that we should.
Like, I don't want to see him die and, like, be beaten, but that's his backstory, and then have to cope with having that inside him would totally make him interesting.
A guy that finds out he's necessarily evil by nature,
think of it like
he does not actually have to be that way.
Think of it like Raven from the Teen Titans, someone who knows that they're part demon, but is also trying to be a good person, and they have this dark side inside them that they're fighting against.
You know what I find really funny here? I agree with you. the ultimate moral of the story, this Elseworlds Mortal Kombat realm that you're bringing us to, it happens why? God fucked up. We were asked by someone, I forget who it was, what we think that MK's ultimate moral lesson is. And that actually stuck with me for a little while, because I was like, it necessarily tries to tell anything.
Mortal Kombat doesn't
anything,
really
to teach any lessons.
Like, when I think of Mortal Kombat trying to have a moral, the only time it really comes up is the first, and that moral is, like, human potential is the most powerful thing. Like, believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself, and I guess, I don't think this is a necessarily atheist or an agnostic perspective. Read that hard into it. But it's all about not letting for someone to do the job for you. It's about believing in the potential of humanity and what self can accomplish.
The Threshold version of Raiden says it again and again and again. I can't live your life for you. I can't win this for you. It has to be you. I'm just here to be the mentor. Humans have to take control of destinies.
Again, not necessarily disavowing the existence of a god, just saying you can't have someone living your life for you. You have free will.
Exactly.
Well, I'm drunk and we're talking about theology. So, is that a good time to end it? Do we have anything else to talk about?
I think that's a good note to end on. We're right at about the 2-hour mark.
All right.
Maybe.
I think this has been a good episode.
I'm happy with it.
As am I.
And, Sindel's coming in, 2 months?
1 month.
A little bit
a little more than a month. Okay. Like, November 26th, I believe?
So
toward the end, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be back.
We hope you guys have very much enjoyed this. If we forgot to mention anything that's happened over the last couple of months, apart from, Zons, let us know, and we'll try to cover it next time. Until then, keep the love coming. We love you all both. Other than that, love you all back. Whew, this is strong. Thank you. And just gonna, remind folks, more Lost episodes in the near future. We're almost done with the Sub-Zero episodes. Swear to God, there is
one last part we'll cover Kuai Liang in adaptation media. And then the character after that, I think we agreed, is Kung Lao?
Kung Lao.
Okay.
Kung Lao next.
So look forward to that.
And the Warrior Shrine's coming back, since I have actual internet again. It's a thing. It's gonna happen. Is
that like how you're finally gonna finish Mythologies?
I'm going to do both. I've already said this, but I'm breaking out all of the news on this episode.
Okay.
Is that like you're going to put up that rest of that MK11 commentary?
I don't know about
I'm skeptical, but I don't want to discourage you.
Let's not get crazy, okay? Listen, one step at a time, okay? Those two things. Onimusha? Come on, man.
Wow, this is the blow-ups.
Wow. Listen, man, I'm trying over here. It's going to be great.
You balls out on stream, sir.
No, Snake Eyes said Onimusha. That was him.
Yeah, about you.
Listen, it's going to be great. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a Warrior Shrine.
Well, I will choose to be optimistic that there is Django content in the future.
I appreciate that.
I don't know what that content's going to be, but it will exist, I'm sure.
It's going to be something tight.
All right. Good night, everybody.
We'll get you in as a guest next opportunity. If you're Sindel, we'll bring you in.
Actually, we have somebody for the... Oh, that's for the Lost. We have... Tavmok wants to be a guest on the Sindel episode of The Lost.
Does he really?
I believe that's the character he said.
That sounds interesting.
But, Sindel's a long ways away, because we're doing them in order of game.
Kiala, reach out to us and let us know who you want to come on and talk about it. If it's the Netherkast or the Lost or whoever.
Or Shrine. Right. You can do a Shrine.
Shrine's an option, too.
He had a mean standing in the tournament that I also never finished.
Okay, I gotta piss.
Okay.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
See you later, nerds.
You're still trying to win?